Okay, when you think of a surgeon, what comes to mind? Probably some brilliant innovator, right? Someone pushing the very boundaries of medicine. But what if the system that's supposed to train them is actually holding them back?
There's this amazing quote from Dr. Devi Shetty that says, "Surgery is an art and all surgeons are artists." And that's such a powerful idea, isn't it? It frames what they do not just as a science, but as this deeply creative act.
But here's the twist. What if that rigorous, superstructured system, the one designed to create these brilliant professionals, what if it's accidentally stifling the very artist inside?
All right, so let's dive into our first section, the surgeon's paradox. Because some really surprising new research is shedding light on a huge contradiction in the world of surgery.
It all kicks off with this groundbreaking study out of McMaster University. They got together 82 surgeons and trainees and decided to measure their creative thinking. And what they found? Honestly, it was pretty shocking. While surgeons are obviously brilliant problem solvers, the study showed that they consistently struggled when it came to generating truly original ideas. And when you look at the data, it gets even more fascinating. So, surgeons scored super high on fluency, which means they could come up with a ton of ideas. They also scored high on flexibility. Their ideas had a lot of variety. But, and this is the big one, when it came to originality, their scores were way, way lower than the average adult.
So the big question is, why? Right? Which brings us to our next section, where we have to ask, is it a culture that stifles?
Okay, so what this study was actually measuring is something called divergent thinking. It's basically a fancy term for brainstorming, that mental process of exploring a whole bunch of possible solutions. And it's tested using those three things we just saw: fluency, flexibility, and yeah, originality.
And this is where it starts to get a little concerning. The study uncovered a trend. The more years a surgeon had under their belt, the lower their scores for divergent thinking tended to be. It really suggests that the training process itself might be wearing this skill down.
And look, this isn't just some abstract number on a chart. One trainee in the study's interviews just came right out and said it, reporting a stifling of their creativity during medical school and residency. It seems the system, which is all about precision and doing things the right way, might be squeezing the originality right out.
But hold on. What if the problem isn't the surgeons themselves? What if it's the system? And if that's true, maybe we can actually engineer a better one. This brings us to the innovation framework.
So if the culture is the problem, can we actually design a better one? And the answer seems to be, yeah, we can.
Turns out, the UK's National Health Service, the NHS, they believe we absolutely can. They've developed this incredible practical guide for leaders that breaks down exactly what you need for a culture of innovation.
Their whole model breaks down into these 7 key dimensions. Let's take a quick look.
All right, so the framework lays out 7 key areas. You've got things like risk-taking and relationships. We'll get back to those in a sec. But also having the right resources, and that means time, not just cash, and having really clear goals that actually get people excited. The idea is, if you get these things right, you build a place where creativity can actually happen.
Let's just zoom in on risk-taking for a second. There's this awesome quote from Thomas Watson, the founder of IBM. He said, "The fastest way to succeed is to double your failure rate." That idea is just so central here. To innovate, you have to experiment, and that means some ideas just aren't going to work out.
Now, to be clear, this isn't about being reckless. A real culture of innovation is all about making a smart, balanced call on risk, and, crucially, building a system that learns from failure instead of punishing it.
And you know what? That idea connects directly to another huge dimension: relationships. We have this idea of the lone genius, right? Well, that's pretty much a myth. Real innovation thrives in diverse teams built on trust and open communication, where all these different viewpoints are actually valued.
Okay, so why is this conversation so incredibly important right now, more than ever? Well, that brings us to our final section, human creativity in an AI world.
Look, AI isn't some far-off sci-fi thing anymore. It is here, and it's already in the clinic. We're already seeing tools for ambient scribing, where an AI just listens and takes notes, and AI that helps analyze radiology scans. It's happening. And this is where we see a really important split. AI is an absolute beast when it comes to analyzing data and spotting patterns at lightning speed. But our human strength, that's totally different. It's in creative problem solving, it's in ethical judgment, and it's in empathy. The stuff you can't just program.
And here's the key takeaway.
the big so what of all this. As AI handles more of the routine stuff, it doesn't make us obsolete. No way. It actually makes our uniquely human skills, like creativity, more valuable than ever before. It becomes our biggest asset.
And that's why this isn't just a niche conversation for doctors. Fostering creativity in medicine isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It is about defining the entire future of human-led healthcare in a world that's getting more and more automated.
I want to leave you with this incredible thought from Albert Einstein. He said, "To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science." So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, are we building a system that actually nurtures that imagination, or are we building one that just lets it slip away?